Mhm.
It's Elijah. What's going on?
Hey, it's Elijah. What's happening? We got a full house today. We got Grandpa Taylor as usual. We got Uncle Pooh Bear. We got the two aunties. We got Miss. How would you like us to refer to you, Nisi?
Nisi is cool. Auntie Nisi is fine.
Okay, just making sure. We got Auntie Crystal. She we told Uncle Pooh Bear we're not replacing him with a lighter skinned person because we blew up. Had to clarify.
I'm safe.
Didn't want nobody upset, and we got Elijah one calling in today. Can't see what he's got. So let's get the what the show's about out the way from the beginning. What y'all got to drink?
I'm drinking vodka and cranberry.
Oh, there we go.
Kettle One vodka to be exact.
I was gonna ask what type of vodka. All right, we approve Kettle One.
Okay, cool. I stole it from my daddy, but it's fine. He'll be okay. He ain't gonna miss it.
he got enough, huh?
Yeah, well, he got a whole bar, so I just took a little bit of what I need and kept it moving.
Well,
Nice.
since you went first, Nisi, want to shout out your podcast?
Yes, my podcast is called Two Dads and an Auntie. It is available on all podcast streaming networks. So we probably need to get us a little Facebook Live so we can get it going. But we just talk about, like things going on in the Black community. We try to promote as many Black businesses as possible because I feel like a lot of our people just don't be knowing stuff. So, I mean, it's also funny and entertaining and we joke and stuff, but I add my little auntie flair to the serious talk. So
Okay.
that's that.
Being a podcaster, I got it. Well, all right, go ahead, Sean.
We gotta go through the drinking first.
Yeah, I was gonna curve the whole conversation right quick.
Elijah, you new to this, man. We can't. I know you called in. You drinking anything, Bo?
Nah, actually, I'm at work, but I very rarely if drink at all. So
just had to clarify just in case, man. But Elijah was joining us. I think you're in DC, right?
Yep, currently in DC. Right now in Southeast, if anyone is familiar with DC.
Okay, man. We've been seeing a lot of stuff happening down there. Hope you guys are staying safe.
Hey.
Fine.
Let me see. Auntie, what you got?
With what? With my drink?
Yeah.
Your uncle has the bottle. He just brought me a glass. So
Bourbon. We back to Bourbon County.
Oh, of course.
This is 2018 Bourbon County.
Two things that are consistent on this show for people who have never been on it is at some point someone's going to bring up Cuba and Bourbon County, and Bourbon County is going to weasel its way into the show.
very much.
I got this odd side sweet potato shuffle rye ale.
Sweet
I like
potato.
outside.
Sweet potato beer, period.
I like it. I'm here for it.
Ashley brought it, so I'm trying it. Grandpa, I know Grandpa, what you got, Grandpa?
You know what I got? Got the old standby here.
You got Molson Ice. All right, now in the brown pure bag.
Molson Ice, yeah. He just keeps be my old favorite, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's
That is his
Chill.
favorite.
Ain't room temperature. I gotta chill.
since we got
drink like a thug.
since we got so many people today, let's just give our rankings because I know we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see.
Hey.
I can almost tell my ranking is 5-5,
Most standby. It's not the best. It's not the worst. What about
Not the best. Yeah.
what about you?
What are we ranking though? Our
Just
drink?
1 out of 10. What's your drink?
1 to 10, your drink.
I normally like darker liquor or tequila, so it's about a 4 for me.
Ooh.
Oh,
You done stole that. You done stole it and you low rated it.
You stole
Well,
it and low
I don't
rated.
really so listen, I only like vodka like sometimes, but I only had cranberry juice as my mixer. So I was like, okay, vodka it is. Plus tequila, I'm not gonna be able to go back to work and function after that. So vodka, I'll be like, all right, whatever, I'm ready. Let's do it.
What'd you rank this one, Chris?
This was pretty good. So I'm at a 7.5.
What'd you give it?
A 7.5, maybe 8. That's pretty good. It's
That's what the ranking
for it
is?
to be a regular Bourbon County. I'm surprised that it's so good. That's actually really good. So yeah, maybe 7.75, 8.
I'm at 8.25. See, y'all think I be
He
tough.
done gave it a high ranking. That's a B.
Yeah, oh, this is delicious. I don't know what she talking about.
I'm
Warming my insides up. I like it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I thought the sweet potato stuff was gonna be trash. This is actually pretty good. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it a solid 8. Yeah.
I kind of want to try it now.
I figured
I
it
was
would
low
be
key
good.
like sweet potato.
It's good. It actually kind of tastes like a dessert beer. So this might it's not something you drink all the time, but if you after you eat some heavy dinner, I could drink this again.
So is it sweet?
Yeah, it's not super sweet. It's not. It's sweet and tart. It's got a little bit of everything.
Okay,
but that sounds pretty good. I like Outside though, the brewery.
Taylor, and I'm the
sorry.
Oh, okay, but now that we got rankings out the way, because we know we don't have this many people, let's bust out the topic. This is something me and Elijah were actually talking about via Instagram chat a few days ago, but it all ties in. So I remember a few prominent Black celebrities, politicians, faces on TV and on the interwebs talking about we're gonna wait till after the election to hold our politicians accountable. So I want to know what these people are talking about and what's going forward. What now that we are actually in the post-election era, essentially, this is really when the work should begin again for next election. So what are some things that we're going to be pushing now to get going forward? Or what's some things that should be already in the motions? Well, let's go first with our guests. What about you, Nisa? What you think?
To be honest, I feel like none of our officials or leaders are really ever held accountable for any of the stuff that they do. So that comment was just like, whatever, it's not gonna happen. But I do think they need to start working out these student loan things that they got going on. Everybody paying all this ridiculous money to get an education. There's other countries that people are going to college for free. I also think they need to work on, I just had it in mind. They legalized weed in so many states, and how many people are locked up for selling weed right now?
Yeah.
Like, it's a slew of Black people by itself, probably a couple 100,000 locked up just for carrying weed or selling weed. Y'all might as well let them out, do some appeals, let them out, because you're legal in at least 10 states that I can think of off the top of my head. And these people are all still locked up. They need to work that out, and I'm down. I'm cool with whatever after that.
Okay, that's Nisi's thing. What about you, Elijah?
I would say I definitely would have to agree. I feel like they would have to slowly start putting things in place first before we got to that step. Stuff like amended, I guess, criminal histories would be a first and a foremost, especially with pot being legalized. And I think almost every state except for, what is it? I think there's only 10 states that don't have any medical or recreational provisions at all. It's still just illegal.
Wow.
But I mean, outside of that, I think on terms of the reparations, me and you, as we discussed, I definitely don't necessarily feel it should be a cash in hand type of situation, more so a programs type situation.
Hey, speak for yourself. Cash me out. Cash me outside.
I'm saying the same. Run me my money. I don't want no 40 acres. Just give me my money. I'll buy it.
I guess my question is, what value do you put on your ancestors working for 400 and something odd years for free? Like what value? How can we come up with $1 of that?
Well, they actually did the equation. Like it wasn't even a Black person. It was a white tax dude who used to work for the Treasury Department.
Yeah, I think it's like 17 trillion.
Yeah, it's like he said conservatively, it's about $17 trillion going up from slavery up to about the 60s, back when they finally when the civil rights movement happened. Oh, we got one.
Yeah, respectively, they'll never pay us that. They wouldn't even pay us that during COVID.
Yeah, because that $1,200 was 1 month of rent for me. I don't know about everybody else, but
no, I don't think it's gonna happen. But you get the dream.
I mean,
honestly, if they could just put in place, because if you think about it, and I probably shouldn't say names, but like most white people, they have set their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, their great-great-grandchildren up for success by opening the business. I think they should allow us some type of entity where we can be like, here's $500 towards a tax break or something like that. Like something involving taxes. That way, maybe we don't pay taxes for like 3-4 years.
No,
Because,
three, 4 generations. I mean, like,
yeah, because we're not gonna get that money.
I live with that.
I'll give you two examples.
Know?
I'll give you 2 examples where white America got direct payments or direct benefits from the government. Just 2 real quick. You got the land grabs where they what was it? What year was it? The 1800s. They just gave a bunch of people just, here's a flag, plant your land. This is yours. They gave them that. And let's not forget what I was talking to Elijah about. Oh, hey, Justin. After slavery ended, as opposed to giving slaves reparations, even though they did partially and took it back, every slave owner who was white, they gave between $300 and $800 per slave. So that back then was equivalent.
Give me my trillion.
$800 back then for people, like converting to today's money, is $20,000 roughly. So that's 20 grand like at the high end per slave. So if you're like a small time person, you got like 5 slaves, that's $100,000 in today's money. If you had a farm like with hundreds of slaves, you're talking millions of dollars. And that got trickled down back into the white community and negatively affected us because they instituted what is it, servitude or peonism, which were the black laws. So any white person could subjugate any black person at any given time.
Why would they call it peonism?
Well, that's what it legally was. It's so basically you can make, so what people would do is they come to your house, they say your kids aren't doing something, they're being disruptive. They are now my what's it called? It's not a ward. They are now my apprentice. And they had these apprenticeships, and they would take these children from black families and they would work the land. So, and that could happen at any given time up until the 60s. Like Grandpa told us a story about how he met somebody who escaped something like that from Mississippi when he was in Detroit or Hamtramck, like you said, in like 1940 something, Grandpa.
Are you talking about the escapee?
Yes.
No, that was in the 50s. I didn't believe it, but he was on a plantation down there in Louisiana, and he told me that he had escaped from the plantation. And I took it with a grain of salt because I didn't know those things. Continually go on where people are indebted to the plantation owner, and therefore they can't leave. And a lot of because he was telling me that a lot of them went from plantation to plantation, and they never saw the big city. It was kind of hard to digest thinking of somebody that working and never been to the big city because the plantation owners, they kept them isolated.
And that's the part of what the civil rights movement was also about, ending peonism. Like they don't really put that and broadcast that out, but that stuff was federally legal up until about the 60s. So that can let you know just how far behind we've been financially, because if you still own people because you were clandestine to be working for them, you can never build wealth. And the 60s was 60 years ago. That's what, a generation and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
So on this, I want to do Justin's from the Couch Boys Radio, another Couch Boy, signing finally to join the what you call it, Justin? You done misnamed
the unscripted beer rating podcast, which I finally got it right after like take 53. But trust me, guys, this is after an hour full of heavy drinking. This is an hour full of heavy drinking, and then they want to do these commercials at the end of our session, and by that point, I'm pretty goofy.
But if you can hear what we're talking about, we're talking about what to expect from our politicians now that the election's over. This is really the groundwork for the next few election cycles. What's something that you think the Black community should be pushing for, should be petitioning and lobbying for?
Well, first, I think that a lot of the resources that maybe we're sending out to a lot of these nonprofits, we can redistribute some of that and actually pay into some lobbyists to, fight for our laws. Let's be real. That's where the changes are going to be made is, on the Senate and House floors. We need some people to, invest a couple million, into those lobbyists so they can get actually our legislation on the floors and pass through.
Absolutely. That's a good one. What about you, Uncle Pooh Bear? I'm ready.
Well, I mean, for me, the only issue that matters is reparations. I'm not really concerned with anything else. I don't really think that it's going to happen, but like that's the only one that's ever going to lift us to a point where we're equal or where we have an opportunity to fully function and operate. So if the Biden administration cuts some reparations checks and killed student loan debt, I put a picture of him. He'll join my crew back here. I would make room.
That student loan that is big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if America really want to thrive, they're gonna have to do something about it because there's like 2 generations of people that are crippled up under it. So if they do something about it, it could instantly wake up the economy because people are paying into this thing for 20 years. And they still owe as much as they did, when they started. So it's like, if you just really remove that, and I know there's more to it than just removing that, right? But they give trillions of dollars to Wall Street every couple of years. So it's not like there's not money or debt, at least, out there for it. But I like what the brother Elijah said about, even though I gave him a hard time with my cut me to check, right? I'd rather have my cash, but but about reparations and institutions being built, I keep pointing to Randall Robinson's The Debt, and I believe, Dad, you got a copy of the book, but it's been written already. Like people are like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? How about you read something? And then like you will see that this thought has already been out there, but it's exactly what he talked about, brother, was building institutions that'll be long lasting so that this money doesn't just end up in our hands and like Dave Chappelle's routine, like Dave Chappelle's skit, like we're basically just giving it back to
a bunch of Sprint bills paid off all at once. Yes.
Yeah, Sprint bills, Louis Vuitton stock going up. But it like real talk, if they cut checks, I mean, I'm semi being funny, but I would take my money and invest in the stock market on all of these companies that Black people spend on because their stocks would just go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't even understand why we keep spending our money with them. Period. I just think it's I think people just do stuff because what they see on TV or what they see on Instagram. And our people perish for the lack of knowledge. I say that every single day. People just don't know nothing else except what they see on TV. Even like back in the 60s and the 50s, like there were people who still couldn't read. So of course they think they still they be done paid their whole debt off and still working on those plantation fields. They have no idea that they paid it off 6 months ago. They didn't know how to read. Like my grandpa didn't even know how to read.
These people will take full advantage of you. Today I got a phone call. I got a phone call from extended warranty. Y'all get them calls. Oh,
every day.
Vehicle is your extended warranty. So normally I hang up, but I said, well, since you wasting my damn time, I'm gonna answer the call, right? So I started talking to him. And the woman was like, can you verify your warranty information? I said, you tell me my warranty information. I know damn well she don't know it. She's just trying to find a fool and take advantage of them, right? So, I mean, this country has no laws against that, right? So that just shows you that they don't give a damn about none of us, particularly Black people, right? So I'm sorry for that little rant, but it pissed me off, but I damn sure tried to waste as much of their time as I could.
What about
They actually have laws against that. For people like that. Only reason why I know is because it's the field that I'm in, which is asset protection. So it is illegal to phone scam a person. However, it's just hard to track the crime because not only that, you have to make sure that the person knew what they were doing was illegal. Their intention was to scam you. It's like stuff like that you have to prove.
They got a whole call center.
That's good to know.
They know exactly what they do.
Because that's what I was gonna say. How do they not know? It's a whole cost. There are like people employed doing this every day. That's crazy.
Auntie Crystal, aka Uncle Pooh's replacement. But what is your thing what you be looking for?
Real talk. Everything everybody said I agree with, but I want to remix it. So student loans are just taking down too many people. But when I think about the Black community as a whole, the whole entire Black community is not bogged down by student loans. They're not.
No.
So
That's not a black issue.
right,
It'll help
that's
us.
not. That's just an American issue. But
Yeah.
what could be helpful for us, like I would love reparations in the form of free education and free healthcare. Because this doggone country wants all of us to be dumb and dead, sick and dumb. So if, you know, the fact that so many of us, and then of course, like when Auntie Nisi brought up somebody brought up all the people in jail for weed, that's silly. That's just silly. So if that was to change, that would be dope. But then at the same time, so many of us are underwater because we're not educated, can't afford the education. Because unfortunately, a lot of parents, and I'm not just gonna say men, a lot of parents are in jail over foolishness. A lot of us are dying young because we're too sick, because we don't have the money to go to the doctor, you know, don't have the insurance. So if we had that, where at least we were able to be covered first, I really think everybody should have it. I mean, that's just a damn right. But if we got to be first in line with free education and free healthcare so that we can become educated and healthier, I'm sold. Now, again, is that going to happen? Is it going to happen in the next 4 years? In the next 20? Probably not, but I can wish.
What about you, Grandpa?
Has anybody thought about the land in reserve? There's hundreds of millions of acres of federal land that's unoccupied. It's in reserve. At one particular time, I think it was saying something like about 15 million immigrants came to this country and they were allowed to get some of this free land. But they still got, but we didn't get none. We were here at the time when they got this free land. So, but we still got a lot of federal land that's in reserve, and sometimes these big corporations manage to be able to get their hands on some of this federal land. But I think that some of that federal land should be given to us. Land is more important than getting some money. Give me some land. And so as a people, if we got some of that land, then we would have some of that land like the ranchers in Colorado and Wyoming and all up there and the Dakotas and everything. Give us some of that land. They got that land free. They probably come on and make a stake on the land and they were able to keep it. Well, give us some land. That's what our reparation should be. Give us some land.
To go a little further in there, Grandpa, the federal government subsidizes, I believe, up to half of America's farmland that they can use to grow crops on. So technically speaking, so there's what, like almost 8 million people on planet Earth. America has enough open farmland today to grow enough crops to feed everybody on the planet twice over. That's just in America. So the amount of land he's talking about is enormous that they subsidize. That they pay farmers not to grow crops on because they want to maintain the prices of like produce. So that's just something to think about.
You don't have to have crop on that land. That's land that's owned that you can turn it into a whole lot of different things. You know, you turn it into your reparation, you know. But give me some land.
Give me some land.
But I don't think they would ever trade that because it's a great market to keep a community that will never see prosperity. That's why they're keeping that land like that. They're not gonna do that just as a reparation. They're gonna be like, no, that's how we can make our water be $1. You know, water should be free to me, but that's why they're gonna do that. It's a control factor. It's a part of not even systemic racism, just a part of being able to control a country.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's a big thing that's happening in Flint. Well, true. So like, there's a bunch of like active water that runs through Flint that's like spring water, it's fresh water, and I believe was it Nestle or some other Nestle is trying. Thank you, baby. Nestle is trying to purchase the land up under Flint so they can get access to more fresh spring water. No, that's not it. Oh, well, then come over here and tell me what's right, baby.
Come on. She said, let me correct you.
That you want to correct people off camera.
So here's the issue with Nestle. Nestle has been getting big tax breaks from Michigan because they have bottling plants here and because they're getting the water from our Great Lakes. Nestle has fought repeatedly to pay Michigan less and less because they're like, hey, we employ people, we deserve these tax breaks, we've got this bottling. And so now, in addition to that, They're trying to be underhanded because one of their plants is near Flint. And so when the Flint water crisis started, they did this big PR push to be like, no, we're the good guys. Look how much free water we're giving. When in reality, they are getting the water from Michigan at such a cheap price that basically Michigan is paying them to take the water and then sell it for this huge profit while not benefiting the people who are actually in Michigan. And so that's kind of one of the issues with Nestle and how they're undermining. Yeah, very greedy.
It is. That's crazy.
But also, like, if I'm a business person and there's some shady way I can make more money like that, like, I can't say that it would not cross my mind for at least 20 minutes as to how I could make that a long-term sustainable thing that I am fighting for. But like, it's one of those things that at the end of the day, it hurts Michigan, in my opinion, a little bit more than it should. Because I'm all for you making a profit, but you need to invest in what you're making a profit in.
Tell them, girl.
Yeah, that makes too much sense. So that can't be done in America.
That's fact.
Oh man,
It's just too much of the right thing to do. They're not gonna. No.
I mean, just the country has historically and consistently been foul in every sense of the word. Like
it was formed off of being foul.
Yeah, but even last week, even last month, like it has never ceased, right? And I think sometimes in 2020 we get all starry-eyed and dewy-eyed over, it's Kamala's the new VP and Barack was president and Oprah's rich. Ain't none of that really got nothing to do with us on the bottom. Like, it's cute. The aspirational value is there, but the underbelly of America is nasty racism and its mission and pledge to raw capitalism on the backs of people. The best class I ever took was a history of economics course, back in like 1999. And like, it's really just following the money, right? They say follow the money. And like every decision in this country has ever made has been centered around money, right? Like every single one. Nothing doesn't come into the financial lens of this country. And this has been repeated and it's still the same thing, man. It's just a nasty place to be. Well, I don't really got no point other than it's
it's cool. Sometimes when you drink, you got to ramble. Justin knows I do on the show all the time. But Elijah, I know you got to leave it for me. You got some more thoughts, man?
No, just like I said, the topic of reparations, I just felt like it should come in programs. So even outside of, honestly, I don't even think it should come in forms of student loans. To be for real, I don't know one Black person that graduated from college that still has student loan debt that doesn't own a house. It more so is affecting those that didn't graduate from college, but still have debt. So it's like they can't even afford to get the proper job to pay off a loan and go secure the American dream, which is to buy a house. I definitely feel like it should come in forms of free education, no interest on housing, stuff like that, where programs that'll help us get ahead in life, one, and also programs, two, where they're just not handouts. Because I forget who said it, but essentially if we put cash in somebody's hand, it's just going to go back to the corporations. Black people own I think maybe 35% of the businesses in the United States of America. So you got to think 65% is the other. So our money is essentially going to go straight back to them. It's not going to be invested back into the Black community. It's not going to go into generational wealth.
I got to check that. I got to check that stat, bro. About
man, that sounds like population statistics.
Black people actually, in terms of financially, only control about 2.7% of the wealth in America, and that 2% of that 2.7 is actually baby boomers' housing, like your grandma and grandpa's house that they own. And then the other 0.7% is like people who are millionaires and us. They're talking.
No, that's spot on. 35% in America. That's the Black-owned business rate. I didn't say successful Black-owned business rate, but that's the Black-owned business rate. So do remember that counts for your small mom and pop operation happening out of a garage that has an LLC.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't look that up.
I just looked at it and
That sounds high.
It said 2.2%.
Wow.
No, where am I at?
Yeah, that man, we're not even 35% of the population. That would be amazing if we had.
If we had 35% of the wealth,
That's like every black person having 3 businesses to make up 35%, right?
Okay, no, I read it wrong. It increased 34% from 2007 to 2012.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was about to
That
say
sound a
some
lot
people.
better.
I'm about to say some of y'all lying about how much money y'all got.
Yeah. But he's go ahead, brother, because I know you got to go. You keep going.
I mean, that makes my point even more valid. We own even less than what I thought we owned. So that's even more money that's going to go back to them and not to us, our kids, and future generations, which is why I definitely said it should come in that form. And not only that, we need to teach financial literacy, because I also heard a few people speak on why we go out and buy Louis Vuitton this and Louis Vuitton that. Before I go, to give y'all an example, before I married my wife, I didn't, it's not like I didn't have money. I had money. I just did not have any desire to buy a home. When she asked me, like, why haven't you bought a home yet? I literally, all I could say is, I don't know.
Yes.
So it's like, if we aren't taught these things, then you can't do what you don't know to do. So until she came in my life and explained the whole situation to me, how it works, how easy it is, so on and so forth, it's like, geez, I should have bought a house when I was 21.
Shout out
but
to
it's like
shout out to Detroit's own Amber Henderson. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't even got shout out Detroit sometimes, but no, I mean it's these are great points. Like me and Elijah Juan, we know each other for just a few years because we met through our lives, but me and him go back and forth in these debates, and this is making me think a little different. I think maybe I can agree with more of these programs, but there has to be some sort of cash infusion into the Black community for some of this stuff to work, because it's at the same time where you make these programs, the banks are still not owned by us. We still have to jump through hoops to get some type of financing, and maybe reparations isn't the large amount. I shouldn't say large amount, but the amount of money that they're mathematically saying it is. But it should be enough where maybe you can pay off any credit card or back debt that you have as a Black person, or something that like I said, the 60s is when some of this stuff ended. Like this peonism ended. Maybe you can pay off some debts your grandparents had that are in your family's name that can at least get you to zero. Because like I was telling you before, 50% of Black people in America are worth $0 or less. That means that or less is you in debt to you owe somebody money. And if you can get back to zero and then you can just start building from there, that's a better climb than being underwater, as Nati said.
Yeah, to your point, Sean, the book, Randall Robinson in the book, The Debt, he has a mix of institutions and cash, right? But the cash value is much less significant. It's more emphasis on building institutions that are going to be stand the test of time. And then you get into who's going to manage it and all of that, and because we had the Freedmen's Bureau, right, that got mismanaged and sucked up all of our money to get us the Black-owned banks and all of this, and then
mismanaged implies that there was incompetence. It was stolen. The Freeman's Bank's money for all those Black people was stolen and then used for investment banking by a white investment banker. This was right after. Yeah, you can't sugarcoat. You got to tell people the truth. Mismanagement.
I need them to know. I need them to go look up the damn Freedmen's Bank.
We got people who watch this and don't do that. I want people to understand the Freeman Bank was designed to be a savings bank, and then they took that money that Black people were saving and were taught to save and used it for investment making for the railroads, and then that was a bad investment. Like more than 3/4 actually didn't get their money back. And it put everybody back to zero. And we ain't even at zero today. So that tells you how bad things in the past can affect you in the future or in the present.
This was the 1800s. So you got to think any dollar then wasn't a dollar today. You know what I mean? Like it was really.
It was nuts. But no, man, I appreciate. I know you got to go, Elijah. Thank you for coming, man. Hopefully you can join us again.
Yeah, man, definitely appreciate y'all having me on the show. Definitely had a great time. Just let me know. I'm definitely in there. Hopefully, I can get off of work next time so I can drink with y'all. Maybe.
Oh man, you definitely threw some good, like I said, we're all about gathering ideas. We got to improve our situation, so you got to have a think tank. So thank you, man, for coming on.
Cheers, brother.
All right, man. Get ready for this conference call, so I'm gonna jump off. But y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Cheers.
You still drinking your vodka shots, or you on
I
something
probably
else?
shouldn't be, but it's fine. It's delicious. I'm gonna keep going.
Just keep going. You got this.
Sound like you got upgraded to a 5 now.
I mean, it ain't so bad. I don't taste the kettle one of it, so it's cool.
Let me tell you guys a little bit before we get back to the discussion. So I met Nisi like last week, I think, at the Cowboys radio, and I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" She's like, "Oh, you can call me Auntie." And I'm just like, "All right." Yeah, that's
I legit thought that was Ashley's auntie.
That's a black people thing. When you meet somebody, they like family. You're like, hey man, I'm auntie now. Just call me that. I even question it. I'm like, we in the side. It could be that could be happening.
Yeah, I aspire to be the rich auntie that go on trips and send my nephews like $300 gifts, regular. That's who I aspire to be. But I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. A couple things holding.
Hey, I gotta let me veer totally off the path before we let Dad back in. I want to get Dad in. But y'all the podcasters, are y'all hit the Clubhouse yet?
What is Clubhouse?
No. What is that? I was trying to Google it because I saw it in the chat, and I'm like, what is Clubhouse?
Every time I meet the podcast, I got it. But it's a new social network that's all audio. So if you think about, remember AOL chat rooms, y'all might not be old.
I remember that.
Hold on a second. Justin, you hearing what he's talking about?
Yeah, the Clubhouse.
Okay, because this is something you may have been looking at.
Yeah, it's super dope, man. So imagine like it's all audio, right? So if you turn the app on, you don't got to be on it. It's like you on a phone call. You can go into different like podcast rooms, and I can be in the audience and I can listen to the podcast, or I can get up on stage and I can engage in the podcast, right? And then so people are forming rooms and all of this stuff around different topics and subjects. Like I've been in so many high-level business discussions. It's super dope. I ain't been in. I avoid the trash. You know what I mean? I've been trying to use it for a specific reason. But I don't know. Anytime I saw the podcast, but it's only iPhone only right now. So if you got an iPhone or an iPad,
well, you're out of here on that one, huh?
Yeah. So, if you got an iPad though, you can join it, and I'm sure they're gonna roll it out to Android users.
It's only two kind of people in this world: iPhones and lame droids. No, you just call them other people.
Other people and the others. Others. But it's a super dope platform, man. So it's like right now we could be on Clubhouse. You know what I mean? It's just but it's only audio.
I just want to point out that Auntie has been very statuesque and prim this entire time. She has never lost composure. We all over here just talking and drinking. She's just like, yes, I'm ready for the next topic. We need to fix these issues.
We're not about to talk about Android users. She's an Android user, y'all.
No, it's just
she one of them.
The Clubhouse discussion has been going through our business mastermind a lot the last week or so. So I'm just not new to this conversation. I just had the conversation early today too. So it's just
she like stop it with the Clubhouse. We know
you can't get rid of it. It's everywhere now.
Yeah. Well, I want to try it though. Maybe we'll do our podcast.
We talked a lot about the reparations. Let's shift to business because this is technically a podcast. We got an Auntie and Two Daddies podcast. We got Couch Boys Radio on here. Let's talk about expanding our viewership. Uncle Pooper Auntie was talking about Clubhouse and everything. So I'm not sure if you're aware. I'm technically a part of Couch Boys Radio as long as Justin and Rico and Kello don't throw me out, but it's so I've been my viewership has mainly been YouTube subscribers and things. Justin and Auntie have been over here, been building via the audio situation. And I know you guys have been building your business for a while now. So like, what is it to acquire new visuals? Like, we're trying to expand. Because like Justin said in Couch Boys, he was like, regular radio is dead. You know, if you don't got a podcast, you ain't really doing nothing.
Yeah. Even with my podcast, I'm the silly one on the show. I always got something smart to say. So for me, I am trying to figure out how I can market our show better, because when people hear two dads and an auntie, they think like, what are they going to sit on the couch and talk about? Who kids they going to talk about today or something like that. But because you really the Clubhouse thing just gave me a really good idea, but I want to get to the point where we're actually having our podcast, you know, aired or whatever on Wednesdays like it normally is, and also having a visual to go with it, because a lot of people just hear my voice and they don't know what I look like unless they go to my Instagram or something like that. And our generation is so visual focused, like they gotta see everything. That's why people are always uploading pictures and whatnot. That's
what we got. Grandpa is our, you know, is the main event. No one's here to see me. You know, they're here to see the man, the myth, the legend.
Grandpa gonna always be charming. He gonna always take the attention every time.
All the time.
You see him smiling. He was just like, nah, ain't talking about nothing. But he's like, you know, I am charming.
Yeah, he was like, continue, please. Don't let me interrupt.
Like, give me more. But you gotta have that wow factor in any business, in anything. Like Nike has the little check mark. Fendi got those little upside down F's. You know it when you see it. So I think as far as business goes, I just need something to just make my business stand out. I also just got my LLC for my birthday yesterday, so I'm very
congratulations.
Very excited about that.
But I can definitely help you with the business. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I need to start making money off of me just talking, because apparently I have a nice voice, but I'm trying to just.
What do you think about it, Grandpa? What do you think about the world as it's just changing now? I remember you know, everything was you didn't live through. It started off just being radio transmissions, then black and white TV, then color TV, then the internet. Like what is it? What do you think is what's it been like going through all these different changes?
Well, I'm into that. Getting back to what we were talking about from the beginning, reparations, man. my 40 acres in the mule, and I can take that, man, and sell it. Man, 40 acres now is probably worth, in that federal land, I bet they trillions of dollars up there. Have to work it and sell it.
Man,
I just got something free. We didn't get nothing. I want my 40 acres or whatever.
Grandpa
podcast. He wanted his 40 acres of the mule.
Yeah, damn your podcast.
He said, I want that today.
Like, give me the land. I can build my whole network.
Yeah, I'll build my own podcast. You give me my 40 acres, I'll put up a radio antenna.
You need to get a shirt made to say, give me the land.
Give me the land.
I love that.
Hey, but I think in terms of like growing the podcast and from where we've started from and where we've went, a big part of our success is really taking a non-egotistical look at what you're doing. You know, even though your heart and your soul is into it, you may feel like it's something that's great, but we really take a realistic look at our art and we say, you know, hey man, this didn't work or this did work. And we make a conscious effort to just every episode, A, continue to, you know, push our message, and B, to just get better. Like every episode, I want to be able to call my co-host Cardo and say, hey, yo, Sean, Cardo, this is the best episode we ever did. I want to have that call every week. And as long as you're having that call every week, more people will start following you, people will start hearing your name, and then you're going to want to promote it because you're going to feel that the art is so good that the world needs to see.
That's
so
the part.
Just, you know, keep at it.
I think you definitely gotta like perfect your craft. I'm not in a quote unquote podcast space, but I've been producing content, right? I put a link in the comments for From Poop to Gold, right? It's an audio book centered around the marketing company that's behind Squatty Potty. Y'all familiar with Squatty Potty? You've seen that unicorn, all that. Like they do crazy viral stuff like that. But because I'm in my business, I'm looking for my where's the beef advertisement. You know what I mean? That one campaign ad that we can run for 20 years and it's just killing it. And we out here just reaping the benefits of it. So that I'm trying to start studying some of the best. And like modern day, the Harmon Brothers is really like that gold agency that's putting out this type of content. They're behind, remember Flex, what is it?
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal, they're behind them. You know what I mean? It's the marketing agency behind that. They got a lot of different products that and it's really based upon their magic of putting together commercials. So I just said that because despite the fact that y'all are audio and that is podcast, you still can benefit from advertising and the viral nature of getting in front of the people, right? But you still like Brother Justo was saying, you still got to perfect your craft, because even if they come and you subpar, they gonna leave. You know what I mean? Then you got a terrible reputation. So you always got to elevate your craft. You always got to elevate your products. Your business got to be on point, but you still got to get the eyeballs, right? So I'm looking for my magic bullet. You know what I mean? In my business, we got 2,000 subscribers. And that's another thing I want to talk to y'all about, is like building community around it. And I know you're getting community in the audio space, but maybe there's other opportunities to bring people in closer. Like you should be collecting email addresses. You should be following up with your main listeners. You should be identifying who your core audience is so that you can start reaching out to more and more of them. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily want everybody to hear your message. You want your core audience and people like them to hear your message. And a good way to do that, if you're collecting contact information from them, is to literally ask them a question. You know what I mean? So like literally, what's making y'all listen to the podcast every week? Like, what do you love the most? What do you hate? And like getting that feedback, what do you love the most tells you what you need to be saying to future people. Because you don't need to be using your language. You need to be using their language. And if you're talking to them, they're going to tell you what to say to other people that's just like them to draw them in. So really engaging the audience on that level.
Now to tie all this back into the original topic, how can we use that marketing? How can we use that marketing ability to push the world? Because it's not Black people. We got to convince the rest of America and the rest of the world that, hey man, reparations for us is going to make the betterment of not just our society, but everyone else's. Because people don't do things.
Good, brother. You're a good host.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a wonderful segue. I done took notes and everything.
Great
now.
segue.
People don't do anything.
That boy got talent.
People don't do anything for the betterment of others if there's nothing in it for them. Like that's just human nature. Everyone's got to go out for them. And I'm trying to bring Grandpa back in here because we talking about stuff we don't care. But Grandpa,
I'd like to comment on Freddie's background. And I think, can you bring that background up a little bit?
Oh, you talking about this?
Yeah, that. Okay, well, hold it right there for a minute. I think that everybody up there has something to say. So in our conversation every week, why don't you let somebody speak there, like Booker T. Washington, see what he got to say? Or maybe Francis Cresswell sing, or Juan Nkrumah. But all these people back there, maybe they could get in this conversation too, and let them speak and say what they're, because that's all part of where we at now, right?
Yeah.
Would you say? So I'm saying,
I say, yeah, I agree. They're all a part of our past. So
to your point, Grandpa, I mean that's an educational process, because like it wasn't in high school or even in college really that I learned who these people were, and it's interesting it's interesting because a lot of these people that you mentioned are Americans. They're a part of American history.
There you go.
But
they're a part of American Black history.
We're talking about Booker T. Washington would have something to say on reparations.
Yeah, and like my ultimate point is, as Black people, it's the thing, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me if I get this wrong. What I'm saying is that we're Americans too. We live here. We built this country, and it's not about begging. It's not about a handout. It's the fact that we deserve what we're owed, and there's got to be an education to everyone else who's not us, who thinks that it's a handout. Because too often explain this to other people who aren't Black, even to some Black people, it's like, and the first word they use is a handout. And it's not. Because if I owe you something, I owe it to you. It's not a handout. It's something that you need to get. And that's apparently something that needs to be educated. And there's a lot of things Uncle Pooh Bear and Crystal and everyone we talked about saying how to get your messages out there. And as a community, that's something that needs to happen because it's just another form of lobbying. Because these are the people that aren't like us who need to be making these votes to make sure that we get what we need to deserve. Because until we get what is supposed to come to us for our betterment, America will never be great. So I mean,
on that, brother.
So I just want.
I wish I could like ring a bell or something like yes. So I like
ring your keys, right?
Yeah.
Everything, all these businesses we talked about. This is just this stuff that we just like we do all the time and we do for our enjoyment. But at the same time, like we got to remember that we're trying to push for our betterment. Justin got kids. We Auntie Niecy, Auntie Crystal. I know Auntie Crystal got kids. These my cousins. Niecy
is the auntie with no kids. I got nieces and nephews. They got
nieces and nephews, but you're still a light to their life. Grandpa been here. He didn't. Like I like to joke that he was the carpenter for God. He didn't help make the universe. But these are elders and people in our community. We should definitely be focusing on making it so that our children, our nieces, our nephews, the people who come behind us definitely understand how important it is. And it's just because you didn't grow up in necessarily the same situations and circumstances to be as vehement about what we're talking about, it doesn't mean that you still don't deserve it. Because you're in the situation primarily because of what happened in history. And Black eyes can't be healed by all the ways by time. You got to apply ointments. You got to try to actively fix these things, or else you'll be a cripple. So, I'm getting to my final thought right now. Just try to make it like Justin was saying, every day, if you're making you have that meeting in the podcast to make it like this the best podcast ever. As all the things we do to, get our listeners and get people to be educated about all these things, just remember that, this is a labor of love, because like Auntie was saying, may not happen in 5 or 20 years. Tomorrow's not a promise. We might never see the fruits of this labor, but the people who come behind us, our loved ones afterwards, them having a better life and being able to fight competently in this world that's always full of competition and this, that, and the third, this is for them. And if by some happenstance we see it, that's cool too. So that's my final thought. I know everybody start plugging in and talking about their final thoughts. It's almost 3:00. Niecy, you go first. Plug everything.
Final thoughts.
Before everybody says this, Cash Mob, anything they're talking about. I don't care if it ain't even a bill. Just send them something, because this is business. We're trying to grow here.
I feel it. My final thoughts. One, thank you for having me on the show. And I don't know if these are all your family members, but you got a cool family, because I could never sit in the row with my uncle, auntie, my grandpa. It would sound like an argument, because we just a loud group of people. But
we loud.
You sound like you and my family for real.
Well, good. Hey, cousin.
Hey, cousin.
Feel free to come back on again, Niecy. Everyone's always
absolutely. Yeah. Now I need you to come to our show.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I got confused last week because they usually record after us, but they recorded
before. And I didn't see you, and I was like, they didn't come to my birthday episode.
I was sad too.
It was my birthday episode.
I asked JG. I said they came earlier today. He was like, yeah. I'm like, oh man.
Well, so my birthday was yesterday. So Sunday, my friends was taking me out, and I was like, I want to record early so I can get home, change clothes, and go. Yeah. I turned old yesterday, but it's fine.
I turned old. Okay.
It's the beginning of the end of my 20s.
Give your information so people can find you and all that stuff.
Yes. Oh, you can find me on.
And your final thought.
Okay. My podcast is 2 Dads and an Auntie. My Instagram and all other social medias _FineTee, FINETEE _ Niecy, NECIE. Final thoughts. Black people need to get their money back from all the stuff that happened with their grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-grandparents, and all of that. And I think that Joe Biden is, and people might not like what I have to say, but I still think that Joe Biden might be racist. He's just trying to learn how to not be racist. And
hot take.
and
You're all about
you
telling
know,
the truth today.
That's the
I'm
next
sorry.
episode.
That's just how I feel about him.
You
He's
throw
trying
that
to
in
wait.
at the end. We should have been talking about that.
Yeah, how you gonna wait?
Right.
Hold
DC, you
that.
gotta come back next week to talk about why Joe Biden is racist. So
Sure, no problem. I'll be back next week. I'm fine. That's fine.
I'll send you the invite. What about you, Justin?
Y'all can catch me at Couch Boys Radio on all pod streaming platforms, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all that stuff. Listen in. We usually drop maybe 1 or 2 episodes a week. IG at them Couch Boys, man. I appreciate y'all for having us on the Untitled Beer Ranking Show.
Finally.
You know what I'm saying? I had to do it right. And but I will say, I had it right the first time, because you people are unscripted. This is the unscripted Beer Ranking Show. But I appreciate y'all and I love y'all.
Thank you, Music Soul Child. All right, Auntie Crystal.
You know,
Don't make me
And I
start
was
singing
trying to
that
figure
part.
out who he looked like.
girl, don't you know? So
Oh, well, y'all actually-
I'm sorry, it's in my head now.
Justin was at the wedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
So you asked first, how can we be found? I'm old, so I'm on Facebook.
So you and I need to
talking
be the
about
same
getting
age.
old. Check out huh?
I said you're the same age as Aunt Nisi. She said she just turned old.
She told about she getting to the last part of her 20s.
I am. I turned 25 plus shipping and handling.
Okay.
Nisi, our
Yeah.
son is only a couple years younger than you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, I like that shipping and handling. Consider that,
Right.
you know.
I love it. But
25 plus shipping and handling.
I love it.
Mhm.
But you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I don't use it, but everywhere is at Fitness Is Not a Game. That is me. Final thoughts. Yeah, what Nisi said. What everybody said, we need our money. The biggest thing is we Black folks need the ability to be able to go to the doctor so that we can be healthy and live longer, because everybody wants to talk about generational wealth, but don't talk about generational health. So
Amen.
that's my final thought.
I like that.
Me too.
Jungle Pooh.
Yeah, I guess my final thought is, you know, I ain't holding my breath over reparations. I don't really expect shit from this country. They've always been on garbage. I expect garbage. I expect lies and trash. Cut me the check, put the institutions up, do whatever you're gonna do. That's cool. But Black people, Black nationalism is our only hope. We got to do for self. They ain't never cared about us. They never will. I don't care about this soft touch of non-racist Joe Biden, whatever that looks like, and Kamala in office. We didn't move the needle when Barry was in office. We're not gonna move the needle under them unless we move it ourselves. So Black nationalism now, Black nationalism forever. And we need to link up with the Black family all around the world. You can catch me on Urban Intellectuals all around, all of the handles and all that good stuff. But I dropped it in the comments. I just did an 8-part series on Black Fridays about Black history and Black empowerment, which is really a culmination of Black nationalism. That's what I'm all about. That's what Garvey was about. That's what my brother Malcolm was about. That's what all these people up here was about unity of the global Black community. And until we get back to that, we always gonna be under the thumb of our oppressors because we're asking them for shit. We don't gotta ask them for nothing when we unify. Garvey talked about that mighty nation, right? He talked about 400 million strong. That was 100 years ago. Well, we over 1 billion now. Like, what are we doing? Asking anyone for anything. All you got to do is unite. That's all you had to do 100 years ago is all you got to do today, or 100 years from now, you're gonna be asking and begging the same old shit. I mean, I'm tired of it. I'm only 44, right? I ain't on my way to the grave. They about to get this hell for the next couple of decades, buddy. I ain't done, but man, we got to come together. Like, that's the only solution. I don't need, if they cut the check, great. If they cut the check, we got to come together. If they don't cut the check, we got to come together. There's one common denominator here. It's time to come together and stop playing all this rugged individualism, of which nobody in the Western society has ruggedly, individualistically lifted themselves up by their bootstraps. It's time to wake up.
And because I love my uncle and auntie, don't forget, this is Black Friday coming soon. Don't forget to buy your Urban Intellectuals swag, and you got what version of the deck is out right now?
Get your flashcards. We up to 5 now.
What's the website to order?
urbanintellectuals.com.
Okay.
With an S at the end, Urban Intellectuals. Plural.
Okay, say it's plural. Amen.
Yeah.
You got 4 nephews, you need 4 packs. But
there you go.
Wow.
Grandpa, what's your final thought? What you want to plug other than just how great you are.
And charming, don't forget charming.
I'm consistent.
Hey, auntie, now, Grandpa.
And if you noticed it, I've always talked about affordable health care.
Yes.
Right? Because I can remember back when, this is why it's so important for our community to have that affordable health care. Because, that's a stumbling block in the Black community if you don't have that health care. And I've seen it over and over and over again. But now we seem to going to have a little breakthrough. And I'll be happy when Black people can go to the doctor and get some health care or treatment, and things, and don't cost them arm and leg, which they don't have. So you go there and they cost you arm and leg, but you ain't got the arm and leg to pay, So I'm pretty happy now with the progress going on with the affordable health care, and I hope that we will consolidate that. Don't let them take that from us. That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank everybody for coming. Just
wait, bro. Before you go, real quick, Justo, brother, get you on y'all.com, man. councilboysradio.com. I just tried to go to the site. Nobody owns it. You should own that. Even if you ain't gonna do nothing with it, you should at least squat on the domain. Because if you build up this big brand and this business with that vision you got, crafty as I am, I'll go buy it and sit on it and then sell it back to you. You know what I mean? Right. Or not sell it back to you. I'll just reap the benefits off your work.
Uncle Pooh Bear, how much is the domain?
Nah, it's like $10 a year. Yeah,
what?
That's why I say at least. Yeah.
You want to make me one just to have that.
Yeah, most of them are like $8.99.
Yeah, that's why I said on average $10 a year.
If you buy it right now, I'll send you the money.
Right.
Let me go buy it. Then y'all we can do a contract, and you guys can pay me.
I'll send Justin's old. This. You see,
no, I own
Justin, they clowning you now.
No, I own the domain.
Okay, it just ain't nothing on it.
Yeah, it's just a Google Sites website.
I don't even see that. Maybe I spelled it wrong then.
But yeah, so Justin, you gotta come
back. At least you own the domain, brother. I don't know. I pulled it up. I was like, hey, man, I gotta tell you.
I just looked in the email, made sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Come back. Everybody gotta come back on. Nisi, you're gonna be back on next week apparently now. Yes. So don't forget. So we're gonna have.
Because y'all touched on something, I remember and I wrote it down, so I have it for next week.
So don't forget next week. What'd you say, Grandpa?
I said, up you mighty people and accomplish what you will.
Yeah.
That was Marcus Garvey, wasn't it?
Marcus Garvey, yeah.
Oh, man. I remember in the day too, man. We had something going. It didn't last very long, but I can recall the what you call them, drum corps and thing, and people marching down the streets and canning the signs and all that.
Yeah.
We lost some of it, but we're getting it back though.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming back. We'll see you next week. Nisi, Justin, you can come back as always whenever. Just let me know, man.
I will. I will.
Thank you, Auntie. Are you a regular now? What's going on?
Well, if you're so lucky, I'm just saying. If you send me the link, sir.
Of course.
You tell me if I'm a regular.
I'm about to call you.
Back, Uncle Pooh Bear's. He done came in with the I don't argue with Harriet Tubman. I don't argue with people. Harriet Tubman with a shot. That's a great shirt. Grandpa,
I ain't going back and forth with you.
thank you for always being on the show, Grandpa, and being the main event. We'll see you guys next week.
See
Pops,
ya.
I'm about to call you.
Peace.